everyone, my name is Ava. I'm currently a master's student at Cornell studying horticulture, and today I'm going to talk about selenium in plant and human nutrition. I'm going to discuss mineral nutrition, selenium in both humans and plants, and how the biofortification of crops could lower the incidence of selenium deficiency. So what is selenium? Selenium is a nonmetal element, and it can be found below sulfur on the periodic table. It also has similar properties to arsenic. In the earth, it is typically found in metal sulfide ores where it partially replaces the sulfur. Now I'll discuss some nutrition basics. Firstly, it is important to understand the difference between micro and macronutrients. Micronutrients refer to vitamins and minerals that are required in small amounts for the proper growth and development of an organism. Macronutrients refer to caloric sources such as fats, carbohydrates, and amino acids needed for energy and the building blocks of cellular structures. Nutrients are classified as essential or non-essential. Essential nutrients are, nutrients that are essential for normal bodily functions. They provide structural or functional components to an organism and cannot be replaced by another compound. For humans, these nutrients either cannot be made by the body or just cannot be made in adequate amounts. They must be derived from the diet. Examples of human essential nutrients are in this figure. Non-essential nutrients are nutrients that are not required for bodily functions, may have no biological function, or are toxic to the organism. Alcohol and toxic heavy metals are considered to be non-essential nutrients. Heavy metals are elemental or metal compounds that negatively affect the health of an organism. They typically refer to toxic metals that are completely non-essential to organismal function. Now I'll go over the importance of selenium for human health. Selenium is a main component of selenoproteins and various enzymes with antioxidizing properties that protect against ROS. ROS stands for reactive oxygen species, which are unstable molecules that contain oxygen and react with other molecules in a cell. This causes oxidative stress. In general, selenium protects tissues and DNA, is important for cognition, reproduction, and hormone regulation. Selenium deficiency symptoms include nausea, vomiting, headaches, weakness, weight changes, altered mental state, lethargy, and infertility. Chronic deficiency can cause thyroid disease, increased cancer risk, cardiovascular disease, and liver damage. Groups at risk of selenium deficiency include people living in low selenium regions, such as China, Russia, and parts of Europe, people who consume plant-based diets, people with HIV, and people living in developing countries. The ideal consumption is about 15 to 70 micrograms per day, and this will depend on age and gender. Pregnant and lactating women also require higher levels of selenium. While selenium is essential, it is not naturally found in many foods at significant levels. As you can see here, the food sources with the most abundant levels of selenium are Brazil nuts, meats, and animal products. These foods are typically expensive and are not accessible to many people. There are also very few plant sources of selenium, making it difficult for people following plant-based diets to achieve an adequate level of selenium. Another important point to consider is selenium toxicity. The upper tolerable level is very low, especially for children, as you can see in this figure. Consuming more than 3 Brazil nuts per day would actually have a toxic level of selenium for an adult. And signs and symptoms of toxicity include a metallic taste in the mouth, nausea, hair loss, brittle nails, skin rash, skin flushing, irritability, and muscle tenderness. Now I'll go over selenium in plants. Why do plants need selenium? Well, it is used for the mitigation of different types of abiotic stress. Selenoproteins act as antioxidants through the glutathione peroxidase pathway, also providing an increased activity level for enzymatic and non-enzymatic compounds that act in ROS scavenging systems for cell detoxification. Selenium helps inhibit damages caused by drought, high salinity, heavy metals, and extreme temperatures. In soils, selenium exists inorganically as selenate, selenite, selenide, and elemental selenium. Organic forms include selenocysteine and selenomethionine. Selenate is the most prevalent form of bioavailable selenium in agricultural soils and is more water-soluble than selenite. Both forms can be taken up, but this depends on the surrounding soil nutrition, internal plant nutrition, soil pH, and plant species. Now I'll go over how selenium is taken up and how it moves throughout the plant. Because selenium is chemically similar to sulfur, it competes with sulfur in the soil for uptake. Selenium is transported inside the plant via sulfate transporters SULTR12 and SULTR1 in the root plasma membrane. It has been observed that under high sulfate concentrations, selectivity for selenium uptake decreases, showing that selenium competes with sulfur for uptake. It is clearly unclear if transport is active or passive. Once it enters, selenium is translocated to young leaves and is metabolized via plastids via the sulfur sublimation pathway into either selenocysteine or selenomethionine. Within the cell, selenium is concentrated within the vacuole and can be effluxed through sulfate transporters in the tonoplast. Sulfur analogs of selenium can be further methylated and vaporized into the atmosphere in a non-toxic form, dimethylselenide or dimethyldisenolide. The first part of selenium assimilation is the conversion of inorganic selenium to selenite. The action of ATP sulfurylase and APS reductase are used. APS catalyzes the hydrolysis of ATP to form adenosine and phosphoselenate, which is then reduced to selenite by APR. Then selenite is converted into selenide by the enzyme sulfate reductase. Selenate is then converted into selenium cysteine by coupling O-acetylcysteine with the enzyme cysteine synthase. Depending on the plant species and environmental conditions, selenocysteine can be converted into elemental selenium by the enzyme selenosystolase, or be methylated into methylselenocysteine by selenocysteine methyltransferase, or it may be converted into selenomethionine by many enzymes. Selenomethionine can be used to form selenoproteins or be methylated to methylselenomethionine. Methylselenocysteine or methylselenomethionine can then be volatilized into the atmosphere as dimethylsenolide or dimethyldisenolide, depending on the plant species. Misincorporation of selenocysteine or selenomethionine instead of cysteine or methionine into proteins leads to changes in the structure and function of the proteins and may cause selenium toxicity within the plant. Now I'll go over biofortification as a strategy to combat selenium deficiency in humans. Biofortification is when crops are modified using conventional plant breeding, agronomic practices, or modern biotechnology to increase the amount of nutrients. Hidden hunger is a health crisis which refers to chronic micronutrient deficiencies. Micronutrient deficiency can be just as legal as macronutrient deficiency, but may take longer to show symptoms. It is currently estimated that 1 billion people suffer from selenium deficiency globally, and utilizing biofortification could help cure this epidemic. Selenium biofortification can substantially increase the amount of selenium in foods. Selenium-enriched crops can help ensure that people who cannot afford animal-based diets and people who choose to consume plant-based diets can maintain a healthy level of the nutrient. Tomatoes, brassicas, and strawberries have been deemed potential target crops for selective breeding and genetic modification for selenium enhancement. Another method of biofortification is to apply foliar sprays of a certain compound to a plant to raise levels of the desired nutrient. Foliar sprays of selenium have been shown to significantly increase the amount of selenium in wheat and certain other crops. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. I hope that you were able to take away the fact that selenium is incredibly important to both humans and plants, and have gained a deeper understanding into its functions.